first question was about people holding themselves back from being in the relationship that they desire. Can you give us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, because I know sometimes as women, especially when we start getting like older in age, we tend to like rush, put certain standards, especially like if we've been through certain things, we draw out this long list. He has to look like this, have that. And I just wonder sometimes if we're being too unrealistic, not to say to settle for anything or to not say what it is that we want is valid. But do you think sometimes, you know, having everything all drawn out can like make us not actually obtain what it is that we desire?
So, absolutely. Let me start with that. I think you're right on the money in regards to that concern. So what I advise people is that you should have a list of non-negotiables. So the non-negotiables are behaviors and traits that a potential partner must seemingly have in order for you to continue to date them. So you should have a list. Now, how long that list is tends to be extremely problematic. If you let somebody just create their list on a piece of loose leaf paper, they're going to have the whole list one side, flip it over the other side too. We cannot have that. That's unrealistic. So instead, what I recommend is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 behaviors or traits that this person must seemingly have in order for you to continue to date them, right? And those things need to come from what your values are and what your goals are. So as a woman of Caribbean descent, I value work.
I know.
Right? So work, it's probably a problem how much we value work, but we do. So I need to have a hard-working man because I am a hard-working woman. And that's something that I value in my culture, in my community, in myself. So I need to have that present in the guy that I date, right? So for you, these need to be things that are super important to you.
Yes.
What are the things that are must-haves? What are the things that align with who you are? Because sometimes when we're talking about things holding you back, sometimes we're asking for things that we don't have or we can't match.
Okay, true.
And that becomes a problem. Because why would a man who has these things want a woman who doesn't?
Who don't have them.
Right?
Yeah,
or can complement. So it doesn't have to be a perfect match, but who can complement, right? If this man is a God-fearing man, that's the number one thing I hear, girlfriend. God-fearing man. But you don't go to church.
You're not a Proverbs 31 woman.
Right. You're not praying. You're not like, what? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
He's going to want a woman who has similar interests, similar values, similar morals. So it needs to be in alignment. It needs to make sense. So number one, making that list shorter.
Okay.
Not lowering our standards, but prioritizing our standards. What are the most important things? And those are the things I'm going to target. Okay. Now, of course, we're all multifaceted human beings. There's going to be way more to us than just 6 things. A lot of those things could be preferences, though, right? I prefer that my husband could cook so I don't have to cook as much.
Right.
Right? But does he have to cook in order for him to be a valuable man to me?
No.
I would prefer that my husband is over 6 feet. But do I need that in order for him to be a loving husband and present father? That's what I mean about prioritizing. What are the things that are an absolute must? I cannot function in this relationship without blank. I will not be happy in this relationship without blank. If you don't have those things prioritized, you're setting yourself up for failure. So now I'm going to ask you, what are your priorities? Have you created this list of non-negotiables?
I think I have. Over the course of like dating certain people, I noticed the things that that's not a quality that I would want for my man to have. And then there are certain things that I meet certain guys, even if it doesn't work out, I'm like, I really like that he has that quality. So I've kind of put together a list. Maybe it's not 6, but I feel like they're reasonable. You know, they're not like height or anything. It's mainly like core values that I feel like you need to have because those are things I have, you know, like we may overlook certain things and say he has to pay all the bills and stuff like that. No, like, do you have integrity? Are you nice or rude to the servers? Like, are you nice to old people? Are you going to give up your, you know, like, I feel like things like that matter to me because other things you can learn. Certain things you just can't learn. It's either you got it or you don't. So I feel like that's really what my, like, non-negotiables consist of is mainly, like, core values.
Excellent. Now, you gave some examples of behavior, which is good, which would exemplify or potentially eliminate a guy if he doesn't have those things. So you mentioned integrity. So I'm glad you're paying attention to behaviors. How does this person show up in the world? When you guys have an opportunity to give up your seat to an elderly person, do they actually do that? Are they respectful of service? So those are examples of the behaviors you should be paying attention to assess whether or not the person has the behavior that you're asking for. So I'm really glad that you see that.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
okay.
integrity.
Okay.
Integrity for sure. So I am not sure if you've seen any of these viral clips of women. One woman who didn't want to walk into the Cheesecake Factory on her first date because it was beneath her. Another woman who had, 26 oysters on her first date. There's been a lot of talk about unrealistic expectations and standards. I know you had a question about that. So talk to us about your concerns that perhaps some of us might have some unrealistic expectations while dating.
Well, I feel like now with everyone being, on social media talking about certain things, I feel like it's easy if you don't know who you are and what you want to get steered away. You have women telling you if he doesn't take you here, spending that much money on you, like don't talk to him, don't entertain him. And I mean, to me, it's weird. But then again, you have some people that just genuinely don't know. So I feel like, yeah, without shortening yourself, still getting everything that you desire without being unrealistic, but then still finding that soft spot where it's just like, okay, I feel like he's being respectful. I feel like we can work through this, because realistically, everyone is not making six figures. Everyone can't live up to these standards that social media is telling us that, we need to have in order for us to date or talk to a man.